Hi everyone, this is Arcadius and welcome back to Naval. Today we'll be reviewing the second set of aircraft layout for the Graf Zeppelin German carrier. There's actually two options that we can use for her second set, so we will actually be having two more videos on her, so three in total. And let's take a look to see what we have. So basically the ship itself is just a giant gun factory. You have just secondaries everywhere, and they are really effective. You can shoot out to, I think it's 9.6 kilometers, as you can see here, for secondary range. And for the second set of aircraft, you can equip torpedo bombers. You can have 3 squadrons of torpedo bombers, 2 squadrons of dive bombers, and 1 squadron of fighters. Now this is different from the first one where you only have dive bombers and fighters. And this setup is practically overpowered because your bombers have 99% accuracy, and all these bombs do a ton of damage, and whatever your bombers can't do, your secondaries can mop up. And you have really good AA, and you're quite fast as well. So all in all, she's a really great carrier, and she's a really fun carrier. I definitely recommend getting her. That being said, you can also equip this setup, which has the torpedo bombers. Now there's two options for torpedo bombers, and the first one we'll be going over today has 24 knot torpedoes, so absolutely crawling speed, but they do almost 10,000 damage each, and if you're dropping 15 of these, yeah, that's a lot of damage. That's what, 150,000 damage maximum or so? So that's the first option, and then tomorrow we'll be going over 40 knot torpedoes, which are slightly worse in range, max damage, and flood chance, but 40 knot torpedoes are nothing to scoff at either. So let's see what we can do. Here's the torpedo bombers. They are biplanes, actually, and then there's the dive bomber Stukas and the Me-109s. Alright, so let's toss into a game and see how we can do today. Alright, and here results the game. We have 1 carrier, 3 battleships, quite a few cruisers, and then a few destroyers as well. Now, honestly, I don't really see the need to use these torpedo bombers. Your dive bombers and secondaries are more than enough to handle anything that this game can throw at you. Now, if you play a little smart, you won't have to worry about that, but if you like to YOLO and rush in like me, you will still be sunk. But besides that, there should be real no reason for you to ever have a bad game in this ship, unless you have absolutely no idea what you're doing. That being said, though, adding torpedo bombers into the mix is kind of gonna make it easier for you to not be effective. What I mean by that is that your torpedo bombers, at least in this case, are only 24 knot torpedo speed equipped, so they have really slow torpedoes. I actually played a game right before this when I was trying to record, and I had a really bad drop, but they were so slow that the target actually had time to go into the target cone for the torpedoes. So that kind of worked out in that way. Alright, so let's follow each other over here and put our torpedo bombers together. I'm trying to put my fighters around my torpedo bombers as well. Alright, dive bombers can come over here, and let's see what we can do. I'm already rushing in with my carrier because I know my secondaries can do quite a bit of damage against these destroyers, and to an extent the cruisers as well, actually. I think the hardest one I will have a time with is the Agano. Now, considering my torpedoes are so slow, it's not going to be very easy to hit targets. Not impossible, but not easy. Whereas with our dive bombers, it's just point and click. So I just point, click, and I will get all, how many do I have? 10 bomb hits, or at least 9. I don't really know how I want to use these torpedo bombers right now. I'm flying over some of the strongest anti-aircraft ships at this tier, but I need to get to this battleship. So we're going to run the gauntlet, and we're actually not losing any aircraft, which is surprising. We're going to try and torpedo this Andre Doria. Now, she's known as being quite a fast ship, so we're going to try that for torpedoes. You can see they're just crawling, but that actually might not be a bad drop. And with 10k damage, goodbye. Alright, so let's focus back on our ship, considering we are now in a secondary brawl with at least 4 ships. But I'm not really concerned about any of them. We are going to leave our fighters over here, however. We did end up losing some of our torpedo bombers, nothing major though. I didn't actually check to see how many spare aircraft we had with this new setup, so I'll have to go back to the beginning of the video to see that. Double dive bombers, go attack that cruiser for me. Our torpedo bombers are being reloaded. I am maneuvering to avoid any potential torpedoes that are coming my way. Our torpedo bombers are starting to get back up. And we're pushing this wreck that just happens to be here. Oh, she's gone. And our dive bombers are making short work of that enemy cruiser. Let's see what our next target should be. I want it to be this carrier, because she's going to be the one that has the most threat to me right now. Honestly, I could probably pop my defensive AA and take down as much of these aircraft as possible. Alright, where are our torpedo bombers? Here they are. We're going to head over here for right now. And let's see if we can take out this carrier in one shot. I'm also going to bring out my dive bombers in the meantime. So let's see if that is something that'll work. Well, we're going to maybe get some torpedoes, but they're just so slow. Alright, yeah, never mind. That didn't work at all. So dive bombers and our secondaries are going to go ham on this carrier right now. Our defensive AA is still activated, so we should be knocking down quite a few of these aircraft, and at the very least scattering them. Dropping more bombs, secondaries are going to town. That's a very close destroyer. Let's actually see if we can focus on her first. Actually, we can't even do that. She is out of our... Well, now she's in our base secondary range of 4 kilometers. And our secondaries will make short work of her. Right back to shooting all other targets. I'm now going to switch targets with my torpedo bombers to something a little bit more manageable. I was hoping for that Nelson, but she looks like she's about to go down anyways. I'm going to have my dive bombers go and finish off the carrier. If they need to, actually. They might just need to come out here. Where are our torpedo bombers? Okay, so they're on their way. Don't really need to be heading straight for the enemy battleships, so we are going to kind of come over here and head towards the northeast. Enemy carrier is down. That's fine with me. Let's bring our dive bombers back over here then. Surrounding squad 5. Torpedo bombers. And first, what is our ship doing? Okay, we're fine. Torpedo bombers. Let's see, what targets we have. We have 1 battleship left and 1 Fiji left. So let's dive bomb the Fiji and try and torpedo this Andrea Doria. Now, we already saw how effective these torpedoes can be. Let's see if we can recreate that. Which I don't think we will for this drop. It looks like we're going to get some hits, but I'm just not able to give enough lead, honestly. But that's, what, 15,000 damage after 2 bomb hits? Or torpedo hits? That's a ton of damage. Here comes the dive bombers to get quite a few more hits, and she goes down. So I can understand the power and damage behind these torpedoes, but it's no good if you can't hit anything. But we are still able to do 210,000 damage, 4 ships were sunk, 9 torpedo hits, 36 bomb hits, 20 aircraft shot down, 7 fires, 1 flooding, 4 modules destroyed, 1 kept base, and 354 secondary hits for 12,700 base XP. And for me, with all my additional bonuses, 17,500 free XP. 29,000 damage was in fires and floodings. Secondary battery did 60,000 damage. Torpedoes did 68,000 damage. And we only hit 9 out of 39 torpedoes we dropped. So yeah, my accuracy in that regard was absolutely trash, unfortunately. But our bombs were pretty spot on at 52,000 or damage as well. You can see we did end up damaging 11 ships. We sank 4 of them. And honestly, I feel like that was the majority of our dive bombers for effective damage dealing, but we did use our torpedo bombers to effectively eliminate and one-shot a couple targets as well. It's just really that torpedo speed that always gets me. I am expecting faster torpedoes. So tomorrow we'll be going over the same kind of setup, but we will be using the 40-knot torpedoes, even though they are not as powerful. But with 15 torpedoes, I mean, anything you hit is going to be damaged. So hopefully we'll have a better game tomorrow with our torpedo bombers. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. And take care.